Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the February edition of the MCoC General Champion tier list, where we talk about all of the best and our favorite champions in this game. And we update this monthly to reflect all the evolutions, the changes, the way the game is headed, the direction it's going, to make some predictions. We have a lot of fun with this. Try to get some information out. Now, I'm going to introduce the legend and a few things about how to interpret this tier list. If you've already heard that from me and you're interested in just getting straight into those rankings, you can go ahead and look in the description. We have the timestamps for you to jump straight to them. Now, you are still here, and you know that we've got this legend here in the corner here, right? We'll go over this as we see the various emojis being used in there, but I do think it's important that you take a look at them. And one of the biggest ones I want to make sure everyone sees is the dice, which is my prediction. It's a little early, so be careful. Even though I always say, like, please do not use this as your only guide for rank up decisions. I know that's how folks use it. I know you pull a champion, you're like, hey, what did Vega and the MCoC Illuminati think of this? And you're gonna do it. So I really want to caution in particular those champions, which is a nice lead into make sure you enjoy the champion. I don't care how high I have them on this list. If you don't like them, you're probably not going to play them. A great example is Quicksilver. He is phenomenal. He's amazing. I think one of the best champions in the game, but I know so many people don't like him. They don't want to play him. You don't want to just rank him up. So make sure you play him. Also, this tier list will be linked. This spreadsheet is linked in the description. All of these that are in the blue have the link or whatever they are called. You can use that. It'll take you to a playlist on my channel featuring videos that either I have made or other content creators, particularly probably in the MCoC Illuminati or other ones I have a high respect for. I've watched the video. I like it. Stamp of approval. Great way to learn more about this champion, how to use them. And then I think last, but it's definitely not the least thing before we get straight into this is do me a big favor. Go subscribe to the MCoC Illuminati. You can see them all listed there at the more extremely helpful videos. A lot of them have their own tier list, like B McG. Make sure you keep an eye out for that. He does a phenomenal job. TLL's War, Essential Attackers Nerd, with his BG rank ups, all that helpfulness. And then the rest of the MCoC Illuminati, who maybe doesn't do their own tier lists, but these are channels I watch, people I've gotten to know. I think these are really good dudes who want to help everyone out and have a lot of fun along the way. All right, let's get to those rankings. All right, now I'm only going to talk about the two new champions that came out this month and then also anyone we've changed. That's what that little microphone is. We have our first big promotion as we show and look at the Mystic class here, and that is Absorbing and moving to the tier above all. Now, I think a lot of us have really felt that's probably where he was going to end up. He's exceptionally well designed. Yes, a very good friend of mine actually is the designer. We've been friends for like 5 years now, I think. But I think everyone else sees he's that good. I know when we did the stream, a lot of folks were like, this feels like a little bit of two friends having a good time. We were having a blast. Also, Absorbing Man is also this good. This isn't bias coming in. Those immunities that he has, right? And then the ramping up from those immunities, he's phenomenal. I've put out a lot of videos on him. I've even done the Essentials video, so I really should have a link for that. What am I doing? I'm doing a bad job of representing my own videos. That will be changed after this video goes live. You go there, take a look. I've done the Essentials video. I did the live stream with DL himself, who is the designer for this champion. I've used him in War. I'm going to get another War video out soon, so depending on when you see all these. He's phenomenal. He's great. He just handles so many problems. He handles so many problems that we, as a community, face, that the Kabam throws at us, and he's handling them. And then you also do not have to play him. If you want those outrageous results, then I'm going to show you that in a War video coming up soon. You do, I think, have to have some high skill, and you really have to know what you're doing and really think about it and make sure you trigger a few things. I've also done a video, though, where I intentionally did not play him that way and still produce some really quality results I think most of us as players would be very, very happy about as long as we're taking him into the right matchup. I love him. He's great. I think he's a fantastic addition, and I do have him in the tier above all. I feel very, very confident about that. I've still got the dice emoji, but you can see that there. So, all right, now we're going to move on to the top shelf champions. This is Mojo. Now, I've talked to you at length about Mojo, so I'm not going to belabor this point, but one of the reasons I actually had him up there is he was like the only champion that reduced the durations of buffs. He was highly unique. Now, I do think he's very good. You know, you get him awakened, you get that fear, you get the sig up, you can use him, he's very powerful, a little bit of a ramp, but once you get him going, he is tough to beat. The DJ's got a nice heal, so you can play him not at a low health pool because he is a little fragile. But part of why I had him ranked so high, probably compared to lists that you've seen elsewhere, is that he was so unique. Now, Absorbing Man's not totally encroaching on his place, let's call it his specialty, his niche, completely, but Absorbing Man is, I predicted this. And I didn't know, but I was like, I bet you we start to see Mystic Champions this year that have that mechanic, because it is a cool mechanic and it's a design space that Kabam has not explored very much. Now, Absorbing Man's only got it for 4 buffs. Mojo's got it for all of them. But let's just keep our eye on that, because if another, we've got a whole year to go here. If another 2 or 3 champions come out Mystic that are powerful and also have that ability, it may move Mojo down. Not because Mojo's now no longer good, but someone maybe a little more powerful or who is also handling other problems the game throws at us might encroach on him, and we will reflect that. That being said, I don't think you're going to rank Mojo and then regret it because another champion comes out. So don't feel too badly about that. And then America Chavez, my girl. Oh man, the temptation to talk about her for a whole hour here is there. I'm going to keep it very short and simple. I've put out a lot of videos on her. I'm going to continue to put out a lot of videos on her. I put out the video when she was buffed, or when the buff was in the beta, and I was like, guys, she's going to be a Battlegrounds monster. She is. I will show you that in the video. I will then check out the essentials. I've shown you in War. I think she's fantastic. She's phenomenal. She is very well suited for where the game is right now, right? And we've got more of these Cosmic Champions or nodes coming out with a lot of buffs where you can't nullify, and maybe they don't have a duration, so she's not encroaching on Mojo's turf, but she's punching up. They gave her the ability to have the damage, so you no longer have like a penalty for using her, which is what we want, which is where we're at. It's great. She's awesome. I could not be happier with that. I do have the dice there just because I want to make sure this is not my own personal bias, but like I said, I run this by the whole MCoC Melania. They spent a lot of time on this, and they're pretty much in agreement that, yeah, with what we see her doing, with the way she handles difficult problems with those ability power rates, she belongs there. Now, as we move into the super premium, just for those of you who maybe haven't seen this before, these categories are come up with by basically the most common question I get as a YouTuber is, should I rank up this champion? And basically, essentially, the answer lets you know what tier they're in. So it gets super premium. If I'm like, yes, they're great, they're good, go for it. Super premium, okay? Top shelf is, I'm really excited about it, and the tier above all is they are the best. So Wiccan and Juggernaut they're right there because there's actually, I think, good, reasonable arguments to move them to the top shelf. Now, Wiccan is a little flimsy for me. Now, I know he's got the heal, and I do think there's a little element of, you bring him into these fights with a lot of buffs that you can neutralize, maybe some energy damage fights because you can heal back with the SP1. I really like him, right? I love him. I've put out Essentials video. I've taken him to War, sold a lot of bosses with him. I love Wiccan. I think Super Premium is a great tier. I've got my own at rank 4. I don't know if I can put him in the top shelf. So I'm asking you, the viewer. There's a lot of debate between myself, or not between, but amongst us in the MCoC Illuminati. Where should he really be? A lot of people think top shelf. Some people think super premium. You let us know where you're using him, how you're using him, what you think. And the same question for Juggernaut. Campo brought up like how great he was for the EOP, this Karina's 3, and I used him myself and I came away very, very impressed. But the reason why I haven't put him up is I was like, but where else am I going to use him? I mean, he was great for that, and that's phenomenal, and that's going to, I think, be an important piece of content for at least a while. And so that's what I'm wondering with Juggernaut. I know he's great in Battlegrounds, but this is not a Battleground-specific list. I do one, and we'll get that out, and we'll reflect that with Juggernaut, but let me know as a community what you're thinking there. And the last one, Spider-Man Supreme. I personally am not a huge fan of playing him. I find him a little difficult to control because I play him with Mystics version 5, and I think he is meant to be played with that. But BMcG has recently taken his to rank 4, put out a complete guide on how to play Spider-Man Supreme, and also I think it's about a 30-minute absolute showcase, just dominating content, and it opened my eyes a little bit. I like Spider-Man Supreme quite a bit more. I think he is more specialty than niche, but that's kind of my concern there with him. Check out that video if you've recently pulled him. He is incredibly fun. His playstyle is incredibly, incredibly fun. I cannot deny that. I've even had a great time with it myself, but I think that's a good spot for him. I think super premium. The Mystic class is very, very strong. I think they're deceptively strong, and they're right now being asked to handle a variety of options, right? Buffs that can be nullified or what have you, buffs with a duration, and then buffs or situations that need to be neutralized, and then some that can't have any of that done to them. And so I think it's also really about the Mystic class. What are you needing? What makes sense for your roster? Where do you not have someone ranked up? Look at the champions you enjoy and then go from there. There's no other changes in the Mystic class, so let's go ahead and move on to Mutant. With Mutant, there have been absolutely no changes. I think, we've talked about this. I am excited about the Iceman buff. I actually took mine to rank 36200 recently. I have not seen the details of the buff, so I don't know. I just have a good feeling about it. I feel like buffs have been really good lately, especially these number buffs, pure number buffs. So, and his kit, there's a lot there. There's a lot there to make him very, very good. I think just with some damage increases, really. And I believe they are adding an immunity as well. So keep your eye on Iceman. And then I think we need some mutants to come into the game. I think that's just all it is. They are an extremely, extremely strong class. I think they've just been strong for a long time, and we haven't had any new, just totally dominant ones, you know, in the top shelf or the tier above all. You can see Toad, I think, is the only one that's of recent release that we have in the super premium. So that's me. Let's go ahead and move on to the next class. Okay, moving on to science, right? There's no changes in the tier above all, which makes sense. It's not something we're going to see often. Absorbing Man was kind of a unique one there. And then you see how big their top shelf is. Science is strong. I mean, I just put it out on Twitter. I'm like, I was completely out of tier 5 CC on science, which was odd and unusual considering how much tier 5 CC I had accumulated. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about Spot. I promise you guys, I will at least get out some videos on it. I'm working on the essentials. It's just a lot. And here's the thing with Spot is if I had a science gem right now, a rank 4 or 5 science gem, it would probably go to Spot. I don't think he's the best though. I truly, Scorpion, and I love Quicksilver. And you can see where I have Spot ranked. He was so debated on where should he be. And the thing with him is he's such a unique play style. And the one thing I'm certain of, there's two things I'm certain of. One, he can do a lot of damage. And in this game, if you do a lot of damage, you're at least going to be able to use somewhere. Two is he can create great openings. That miss mechanic of his, it takes a little while to get used to with that portal block. You have to hold block and then it locks you into place. So you got to manage that a little bit. And I do think that takes time and some skill to get used to. But then you go untouchable and you can just intercept. I mean, you can literally, I got the tip from, I think it was Karate Mike's video. I just pressed light. I just pressed light. And I got the tip from DLL's video. We're like, look, remember that you've now placed an Infuriate on the defender. They're going to keep attacking into you. At least that's what they're supposed to do. And you can just build up all of these ruptures and then you just explode them. It sounds so simple. The design is great. He is so fun to play. I don't think we're going to see him in the tier above all, but you could make an argument for him being at the top of the top shelf. He doesn't have any immunities. He can go buff immune with the SP1, and that's actually, I've used that in Battlegrounds. It's actually quite nice. He's a unique one. He's a Spot. And I think that's just it. It encompasses it all. If you've got him, if you pulled him, congratulations. Go ahead. I think he is well worth learning. I will get some more videos out on Spot. I absolutely promise you. Now we get to the first new champion of the month in Cassie Lang. She's hitting us with a bang. She's hitting us with an absolute bang. Now, I actually wrote down my commentary on her, so I'm going to be looking a little bit here, but here's the pros for her. She has those immunities of shock and poison. That right there is already really nice. There's going to be shock, hazard shift or nodes like that. There's things we want her, but that's just like the tip of the iceberg here. She then also has buff immunity, and she just has it. It's not like Spot where she needs to throw a special one or something like that. And then when you have her awaken, she's got the power steal off the SIG. Really, really cool. Now, that's not like full power manipulation immunity, but power steal does come in. The game is continuing to grow. So we've all learned about this with Hulkling and Gallon about why you want different power manipulation immunities. So she's got all of that. And right there, you're like, that's sounding pretty good. Plus, she has the power stings that actually refresh or are reapplied when the defender throws a special. Right? Spider-Ham's got to work very hard to do that. And you want to land your heavy and keep your spider nonsense high. Cassie's just doing that. She's got the taunt off of the SP1, I believe it is, that keeps her flow going really well. In my playing her, I found her flow to be great. So I think with all this, you're like, so why not tier above all? Here's the thing is, I think if she ends up in the tier above all, or as she continues to climb up in the top shelf, and that's tough because those are some great champions, I think she's going to get the high skill marker, which is that little joystick. She does have the shrink down, but, and I think this is cool, if you do it too long, or if you run out of, I think it's the PIM particles, you're going to stun yourself, and that's not a good thing. You don't want that to happen. Additionally, I think there's just a lot going on, and I think the developer even called it out in the notes there on her, the ability list. Is there's a lot going on. There's a lot to manage, and as fights get more complex, right? With Battlegrounds, maybe it's a time pressure or the pressure to go quickly or a war, or even just like EOP or something like that. They're going to throw more nodes at you. More things are going to be happening, and there's a lot to watch. I think with the high skill, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities for her to get all the way to the tier above all. I definitely think it's very reasonable, because as the game progresses, right, that we see her move up in the top shelf, and she's up there with Overseer, Cap America, Infinity War, Spider-Man, Mr. Fantastic, and those sorts of things. I think a lot of it's going to come down to how easily accessible is her damage, because I think the SB2 hits pretty darn hard too. So if all of that's happening, plus the power stings, plus the nice openings from her heavy kind of miss mechanic thing there, that's a great champion. Plus all those, I'm kind of getting myself excited about her right now. So I'm really pumped up on it. I don't love her moveset. Let me know what you think. In fighting her and playing her, I felt like she felt a little clunkier than I was expecting for a champion with those abilities and that kind of play style. But she's awesome. She's great. I think she's going to be an awesome addition to this game. Very fun. Continue to move on in the science. That's it for the science. So let's go ahead and talk about the tech class. No changes in the tier above all. Science needs some love. Tech needs a little bit of love. They're a unique one, and we're going to talk about that. Let's go ahead and just jump all the way to future Ant-Man here, Zane, I believe it is, and Super Premium. I'm going to kind of give you my notes that I've taken on playtesting him and those sorts of things. He can manipulate the AI and make them more aggressive. I really like that on its own. I don't value that as much as other people do, right? Like when you look at where I have ranked Mantis, who's actually right below him. That's kind of cool. That worked out that way. It was unintentional. I know those are powerful things, but because they're not foolproof, and because the AI is just, in this game, the AI, guys, you know what I'm talking about there. All right. Power drain and combat power reduction. I think that's really cool, and that's really unique. There's a lot of emphasis to compare him to Punisher 99, who you can see we have a very high range, very good champion, but they are different. But that's a design space that feels like maybe it hasn't been explored that much. But there's a lot of there ands, right, with this guy for me, is I don't feel like we're often being asked to control that, right? There's like I think it's Vivified is the name of it in War. I don't feel like in questing I'm getting this that often. If this becomes a problem that's being thrown at us a lot, then all of a sudden Ant-Man's stock is going to rise a lot, right? But I don't feel like right now there's some current problem in the game I'm facing where I'm like, man, if I could just have controlled their combat power rate, and that's all I really need to do, more. So that's why I've kind of got him there. Tanky with the armor ups and glancing. No one likes glancing. No one does. Why is it coming back? I thought we were getting rid of it. But it is cool. It's there. I understand. It is a nice mechanic and those sort of things. So he can be tanky when you're using him. But let's go and get to the next point. Even the developer says there's a bit of a ramp. And you get this surging storm, and a lot of really good things happen. And really that's where the AI starts to get a little more aggressive on you and things like that. That's really cool. But in general, that's not my type of champion. Now, if it's yours, maybe you're going to say, hey, I really want him top shelf, all that stuff. That's great. That is great. I'm not here to yuck your yum. But I think a lot of players want someone they can open up. They don't have to be fully blasting everyone in 30 seconds. But if you're going to be using all that control, you really want it to be super safe. I don't know if he's there yet. There's no way for us to know. I feel very comfortable with him in Super Premium. I like his moveset, and he looks really cool. And I do think he's well designed. Let's just make sure he's got problems that he's handling for us first. Before we get out there, we start ranking him up and the sorts of things. If you've got him ranked, which when you see this, there's a chance you do when it goes live. I don't think it's possible for anyone to have him. Let me know. Let me know if you think we got this one right, if you think we got this wrong. I really currently think that this maximum is the top of Super Premium. Now, look at that. It's Nebula, Dr. Octopus, Silver Centurion. These are great champions. They make the game better. I think Ant-Man's a great addition to the game. I just want to make it clear, I don't currently see him going to top shelf, definitely not tier above all, unless we just start being asked to do a lot of things that his kit handles that we aren't currently being asked to. And that is always possible. So I will want him when his featured crystal comes around. I'll be very excited to pull him. Moving into the skill class, the tier above all has stayed completely the same, and we are now getting to the top shelf. Valkyrie, I'm particularly calling out Valkyrie. I think we all know how great she is. I know that there's a lot of people who really feel she should be in the tier above all. I have mixed feelings on that one. I see the arguments. I think if the MCoC Illuminati starts to really place and want her there, I think we're going to get her there, right? So let us know in the comments if you're like, no, look, guys, and let us know where you're using her. That's very, very important to the analysis. But the reason I'm going to talk about her here is, one, I wanted your opinion, you, the viewer, and two, Campo just did a phenomenal video. I think it was his 5 minutes or less series. These are great. I really wanted to call that out. If you've pulled Valkyrie and you're like, I'm still a little concerned on reversing my combo or adding my combo or when I should hit the block and not, watch this video. It really boils it down. 5 minutes or less. He does a phenomenal, phenomenal job. Make sure you check that out. Crossbones, I've recently taken mine to rank 4 6200. I guess it's been a couple months now. I will eventually get a video on all my new rank 4s. I've intentionally, we talked about this at length in the last tier list, I believe, and in the battlegrounds, so I'm not going to belabor it now. But ability accuracy reducers, I think, are really making a comeback, or they're at a place of prominence in the game right now. It just feels so often like I'm like, God, this would be easier if I could do all this damage and reduce all this ability accuracy. Crossbones, Falcon, Black Panther. I'm not skilled enough to really play Black Panther as well. In fact, we're going to need to put that high skill emoji up there. I don't know. I think it got deleted there. But, you know, a player like Na, all the stuff they're doing with Black Panther, getting those up there, reducing the ability accuracy, and doing all that damage, I think that's incredibly valuable. Going and moving through, that's all we've got for the skill class. Let's go ahead and move onto Cosmic as we finish this up today. So, Cosmic Ghost Rider, I want your opinion, viewers, because this did come up. He's phenomenal. He's great. Keep in mind, we don't even rank champions. There's champions on here that do not get ranked, and that's because there's no point in us taking our time talking about them. If they get buffed one day, we'll talk about them. But there's no reason for them to take up room and our time on this. There's enough to talk about as it is. As a result, top shelf is phenomenal. Look, Hyperion and Null and Corvus are in top shelf, okay? There was talk about moving him there. The reason being is he can be rigid to play. And it is not uncommon for people to lose track of the judgment cycle. I've talked about this since I pulled him. I was less concerned about rotation and more concerned with, you gotta know his judgments, because something often will go wrong in tough fights. And if you know the judgments, you're more likely to figure it out. You're more likely to be able to reset. And if you need the judgments to go a very specific, rigid way, anything that goes wrong, you're gonna die. You're not gonna be able to recover because that one thing went wrong. And so he's phenomenal. He's great. I love playing him. He's one of my favorite champions in the game. But I think we need to get that out there, that there is a rigidity to him. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, he's not rigid. I did this. And so maybe use a different term. Just think about the spirit of what I'm trying to say and the point I'm trying to get across. Because we've got him up there, and my concern is that folks are going to get him, rank him, and then really not have a very good fun time with him because they don't know the judgment cycle. He can do a lot. I don't think he can do as much as Galen, Hulkling, and Hercules out. I'm just being specifically honest. If there was like another tier between tier above all and top shelf, I'd put him there. But I don't want to get that many tiers. I feel like we've got enough as it is. He's got a dual immunity set. He can go unblockable. You let me know. You let me know what you think, and I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it on him. Gore, buffed Gore. He's a monster. He's a monster. I know a lot of people liked him before he even got buffed, but he is an absolute monster. I think that's a great spot for him, though. I think that's a great spot for him, right? The Undermine, I think that is cool, but there's other champions who I do think are better or have more utility or just what have you that also do similar things, right? Like Penny is a problem. Penny's a real problem. But there's other champions who are beating her up, and they do a lot of other stuff. They did a nice job of increasing his shadow magic buffs, right? The how long they stay on and how long you can get them. I have a great time playing mine. I think that's a fantastic spot for him. I think we're going to see a lot of juicy stuff out of him. I do think, though, as you're asked to do more complex things with him, that, you know, these really cool videos, and I'm doing them too, all right? This is not shade thrown meant for anyone, but the really cool videos about these more simplistic fights and getting to this SP3 and all that damage, awesome, really cool. There's a place in the game for that, but we're not gonna, I just don't see a future where we're putting them up there with Hercules, Hulkling, Galen, and Cosmic Ghost Rider. Let's just keep it at that. And then this one was really fun. I just promoted an ILSS like a couple hours ago, in fact, thanks to a video put out by my buddy Tom Jarvis, TJ. The link to his channel is up there. Obviously, that's the in the spreadsheet there in the playlist. I really want to like Annihilus, right? Aiden, I think, is a big Annihilus fan too, or maybe it's Zillium. Sorry if I forgot or named the wrong people there, but I know there's people I'm close with, or I consider MCoC friends who are big Annihilus fans. But TJ did the video, and it's really, a lot of it has the synergy with Sauron. You know, I don't really like taking Sauron anywhere, to be honest, right? I just don't. Fine little dinosaur, but we get him a buff. But what I saw in the video impressed me enough. I think Annihilus should be there. If you have an Annihilus, you enjoy playing Annihilus. I think a lot of it had to do with the stifle and the durations that those stay on the opponent, and how easy they are to keep up. Make sure you check that out. That's all thanks to TJ. So that was the list. That was February. I thought this was gonna be another quick one, but you know how it is. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about the MCoC Illuminati. And for people who are wondering, viewers started calling them that. That's where the name comes from. The viewers started calling them that because I kept referencing these really smart people that I get to hang out with. And so there we are. I had so much fun talking with you. Let me know what you think we got right. Let me know what you think we got wrong. I hope all your pulls have been wonderful and they continue that way. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.